Householders being advised to read and then submit their energy meter readings before Saturday, ahead, of course, of that planned price rise.
This will stop suppliers from estimating usage and charging a higher rate for energy used before the 1st of October.
Well, of course, from next month, the price cap for the average annual household energy bill rising from what was $1,971 to $2,500. Still an increase, of course, of 27%. But that cap frozen effectively by the government, determining the cost per unit. But bills, remember, calculated by how much energy is used.
Government announced the energy price cap would be frozen until 2024 in an effort to limit soaring energy costs. Joining us now is Frazer Scott, the Chief Executive of Energy Action Scotland. Frazer, just explain why it is so important to do your reading tomorrow or the day after, really.
Well, the energy price guarantee announced last week, which was welcome, provides some certainty. But the other consequence of it is that increase in the unit cost for gas and electricity. They are going to rise a further approximately 25 to 27% in gas or electricity. So that's going to happen on Saturday. So what's really, really important is that people who have accurate meter readings, they should not be overcharged for any energy that they've consumed when energy was priced at the lower rate. It is vitally important that people take advice, get help to maybe read your meter if it's difficult for you to reach it, because some of them are like several feet off the ground, for example, in people's homes. It's so important that people do that, not to be overcharged. This could cost millions of pounds across Britain if people were overcharged for it, simply one day's energy. So it's so important.
I guess you're effectively lending that energy supply your money while they sort of sort out the bill. But the other aspect is, are they actually ready to receive all these RETA meetings? One can imagine if everyone's trying to do it with all the energy companies tomorrow and into the weekend, you know, their systems could fall over.
Yeah, this is definitely a big meter read, and we are asking people to do it. Yes, I suspect systems will struggle to cope. Telephone lines and websites may indeed struggle. They struggled in April when we asked households to do a similar thing, because we were facing a 54% increase in April. This is a combination of incredibly high prices. It is really important that people take their meter readings. If you can't get through, make sure you maybe take a photograph, get it time-stamped, so that you can do this over a few days after Saturday, because we believe that there will be tolerance amongst the suppliers for late meter readings. But it is so important. Prices rising 1st of October on Saturday by over 25% on top of rises that we've already had. I mean, I will say this, that despite that financial support the government's provided, the net effect is still energy prices that are more than double the amount they were in 2020. People are absolutely struggling and will be desperate this winter. And £2,500 is not an amount that someone's energy bill will ever be capped at, not unless you're that average user. It can be higher, it can be lower.
Frazer, I want to ask you about that because, as you say, it's the cap on the average annual household bill. Can you tell us how the best way to make sure you don't exceed the average household cap? Can you give us any practical tips, or are we all going to sort of go over it anyway?
I mean, it's very difficult to give that kind of advice because there are many reasons why people may have much higher levels of consumption. Some households need to have much higher levels of consumption because they have medical needs, essential medical needs, or perhaps they're older people and they need to live in a warmer home than perhaps younger households do. So, you know, there are a lot of reasons why people's consumption may be higher. I mean, the key questions are around affordability. And if household energy is simply unaffordable, people will simply go without, and that will damage their health and well-being, and it will lead to further costs for our National Health Service, and it will lead to a greater amount of deaths over this winter period, all of which is incredibly damaging to society. Simply unacceptable, not right, not fair in the 21st century. It shouldn't have to be this way. Yes, if you can take steps to reduce your consumption safely, then I would urge people to do so. Simple things from turning thermostats down 1 degree, if that is comfortable for you. You know, washing your clothes at 30 degrees, not heating rooms that you're not in, closing your curtains when it gets dark in the winter. All of those things can have an effect which will help reduce your costs. But this is going to be an incredibly difficult winter. Record amounts of debt, record amounts of people who have been disconnecting from their energy supply. This will be an incredibly damaging winter, without a doubt.